Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Esha Kashmiri. We are here with the Light TV, here with another episode in the series of children's development and communication and how it plays a role in their development. We know that children are a gift from Allah. We know that they are the most beautiful thing. They're worth more than anything else in this world. So we should remain as parents, leave them as a gift, take them through our lives, their lives as a gift. Now, in the last couple episodes, we were talking about ages 0 to 10. And we were talking about the development through that. And we never went any further. After they hit 10, they don't just magically disappear, do they? No. They go to middle school. They go to higher education. So today, our topic today is going to be children's development into middle school. And again, we're back with Miss Iram Shah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today?
Walaikum salam. How are you, Isha?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I'm well.
So, like I said, we're going to be talking about middle school. Big changes happen from elementary to middle. And in some states, that goes from 5th to 6th grade or 6th to 7th, but it's still around the same age, 10, 11. So that's a big change. They're jumping from elementary to middle. So what are some basic ground things that we should be looking out as parents? And then we can dive further into those topics.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, it's an absolutely new and exciting experience for the child. You're going to a new higher grade. You're no longer the year 3 or year 2. You're going to the further grades. Lots of excitement, adrenaline rushing. And then there goes the shopping for the new school bags, the pencil cases, the books, and in some cases mobile phones, which would be an interesting topic to speak later on. So again, like how we've said it in all of our previous episodes, that communication is the key, where you develop the trust.
Yep.
A lot of people were interested in your upbringing in the US, Isha. Hats off to your parents. Thanks. Again. So today, again, while we talk about the whole process and exposure and experience for middle school children, again, I would want your opinions as well. So I've heard and I've received a lot of questions because schooling, again, it is totally different to the schooling we have back home in the UAE. I've noticed that. I was surprised knowing how different it is and how the children are treated here, what the children are learning in their syllabus, and how important it is for us to bring our deen into our children, like we spoke in the previous episodes, and making them good, confident Muslim individuals, because they're carrying the name of Allah with them. So the parents now need to step it up a bit. We've got to be a bit more careful. We've got to be a bit more confident, more into our child's life. Because look, again, it's not pre-K, it's not nursery, it's not daycare, it's not year 1 or 2. Now it's the time your child is going to get influenced.
Right.
And when I say influence, easily they can get influenced by peer pressure. They can go through a series of bullying. They can go through a series of being neglected or isolated, or vice versa. For example, you were a top-notch student, so I'm sure you must have had a lot of people who didn't want to be a part of your a friendship, a part of your life, because you have this bar, you're an A-star student. So we've got to remind our parents that now you have got to look into your child's book, your child's behavior at home, your child's behavior towards eating habits, sleeping habits. If you suspect that there is something your child is not doing, which you are used to noticing, remember, it can't just be the father noticing or the mother. It can be the granny, the grandpa, anyone, because we live in joint families, we live in individual families. So you've got to keep your eyes and your ears open. So this is very, very important. If you suspect there's a slight change in your child's character, stop what you're doing, sit down and talk.
Right. Definitely. From the slight change in a child's character, we have to look at the reasons as to why that happens. So let's dive into some of those reasons. For example, it could be a cause of bullying. They could be being bullied in school. So how should the child first react? who should they tell at first? And then how should they talk to their parents? How should the parents react then? And where should the parents get support if it's their first time in this experience?
Absolutely. I'll share a small example what I had to face when I was in year 5.
Oh.
Yes, this is back in my hometown, Dubai. So year 5, I was average student. We had a class of around 30 mixed children, boys and girls together. So I used to have a teacher who wasn't very fond of me. Now, why wasn't she fond of me? We don't know. Again, being a teacher, you should be accepting, you should be welcoming each and every child into your class. That's a different topic. Anyways, so once I was just doodling on my examination sheets, and it was just examination in the term, it was just like a pre-test in the class at that time. And I was paying attention, let me correct that, but not the way the teacher wanted me to, with the eye contact, with listening to her at the blackboard. She's chalking off whatever points she wanted to do. Now, all of a sudden, I realized that I've been hit by an object on my chest. And when I looked up from my table, the whole class was quiet. And this whole room of 30 boys and girls, they were all looking at me. And when I looked at the object, it was a piece of chalk. So that piece of chalk was directly aimed at me by the teacher. Yes, absolutely. By my own teacher. And again, how, subhanAllah, we are told to tell our children to respect your teachers, respect your elders. So I had the same upbringing. My parents would always say, respect your teachers. This is your second home. They look after you. They're going to teach you everything. So that really, really broke my confidence at such a young age. I was shocked. I was traumatized. I was felt like an outsider. And I still remember when I looked at my teacher for that comfort and support that I've been hit by an object, she instead looked at me and she says, "Are you awake now?" To which I had nothing to say. So this was back then, year 5. Now, how did it leave me as a student? Well, the first couple of weeks, we're not talking about days, weeks, I was pretty disturbed. I was embarrassed. I was trying to not tell my parents that I've been through something. But as the days passed, my parents picked up on my energies. They saw there's something wrong with our daughter. She's not eating the way she would. She's not telling us her day at school the way she would. She's not so keen on going to school. That optimistic attitude was gone. My mother then, God bless her, she took the initiative and she called up school and she set some an appointment. So she comes to school, I had no idea, and she asked that my daughter's, not behaving the way she is. So she received some information, not the entire story, because the teacher obviously, they don't always tell you the truth. So
there's two sides to a story.
It is always. So when my mother did find some information, we went back home and she quietly sat me down and she said, "If there's a problem, you can talk to me. If you cannot talk to me, here is a diary. Here's a colorful pen." It was a new pen. I never saw that pen.
Oh.
She bought it specially for me and she said, "Write down what do you feel. And then I will read it. And I promise there will be confidentiality. Your dad doesn't need to know. Your sibling doesn't need to know. I will read your problem. I will guide you. But please talk to me. I am here to help you." So that really touched me because I felt that, okay, instead of going through that whole embarrassment where my mum would, I don't know how she would react, that, "Oh, you were hit by a piece of chalk. Oh, the teacher did that. Oh, the other students didn't come in and defend you, or you didn't do anything about it." No, she took it in such a positive, calm direction that I was willing to tell her that this is what happened at school. So once I did tell my mother, she immediately pulled me out